Strength in sorrow. Today, on the International Day of the Disappeared, we stand united in solidarity and remembrance of all those who have been forcibly disappeared. This day is a solemn reminder of the profound strength and enduring sorrow experienced by the families and loved ones left behind. Their unwavering resilience in the face of immense adversity inspires us all. As we honor their courage, the Asian Federation Against Involuntary Disappearances affirms its commitment to seek truth, justice, and reparation for all victims of enforced disappearances. According to the UN Office of the High Commissioner Draft Article 3.2i, enforced disappearance of persons is defined as the arrest, detention, or abduction of persons by or with the authorization, support, or acquiescence of a state or a political organization, followed by a refusal to acknowledge that deprivation of freedom or to provide information on the fate or whereabouts of those persons, with the intention of removing them from the protection of the law for a prolonged period of time. The families of the disappeared, especially women, face immense struggles. In Bangladesh, many of the disappeared were primary breadwinners, leaving women to raise children and earn a livelihood alone. These women endure psychological, sociocultural, mental, financial, and security pressures, including societal stigma, difficulties in renting homes, and arranging marriages for their daughters. Financial constraints prevent them from accessing adequate psychosocial counseling and proper nutrition. In the Philippines, women, mothers, wives, sisters, daughters, cope with the disappearance of their loved ones, with 88.6% of the disappeared being male. Women bear the burden of seeking justice while caring for their families. Despite laws like the Magna Carta of Women, they face discrimination, inequality, and violence. In Nepal, discriminatory laws affect access to services, property rights, and social security. Women often have to obtain death certificates for disappeared family members to access relief and perform final rites, adding to their trauma. The lack of effective transitional justice mechanisms and state indifference worsens these challenges. Nepal demands for the enactment of the Certificate of Absence Bill to support women survivors and advocate for the Human Rights Defenders Protection Law to provide a safe environment for all human rights defenders, particularly women. Authoritative identity cards for victim families are essential, ensuring access to free education, health services, and employment opportunities. The necessary amendments to the Commission for the Inquiry of Enforced Disappearance and Truth and Reconciliation Commission Act must be passed to ensure effective transitional justice mechanisms. It is crucial to ensure inclusive and gender-sensitive policies in all measures for conflict victims. AFAD echoes the powerful voices and demands made during the recent Women's Congresses on Enforced Disappearance in Asia. We call for the immediate return of disappeared individuals and that perpetrators be brought to justice. It is imperative to establish policies ensuring the safety, security, and dignity of victim families, including women and children, and to cease harassment while providing necessary support for victim families in securing jobs, education, and housing. The state must acknowledge enforced disappearances, conduct impartial investigations, ratify the International Convention for the Protection of All Persons from Enforced Disappearance, and adopt national legislation criminalizing these acts. We call on all governments and relevant organizations to recognize the ongoing issue of enforced disappearances and take immediate action to return disappeared individuals to their families. Ensuring victim families receive adequate psychosocial, financial, and legal support is paramount. Victim families must have access to justice and reparation, and perpetrators must be held accountable through impartial and thorough investigations. Comprehensive support systems for women who are left to shoulder the dual burden of seeking justice for their disappeared loved ones while managing household responsibilities, must be developed. Using a gender lens to analyze and address enforced disappearances, along with developing gender-based organizational policies and programming, is vital to ensuring inclusivity and support for women. We must acknowledge and address the evolving and multifaceted nature of enforced disappearances. This includes condemning the use of enforced disappearance as a tool to suppress political dissent, target activists, and silence marginalized communities. The international community must remain vigilant and proactive in identifying and combating these practices, ensuring that enforced disappearances are universally denounced and eradicated. As we commemorate the International Day of the Disappeared, let us honor the strength and resilience of those affected by enforced disappearances. We stand with them in sorrow and solidarity, committed to the pursuit of truth, justice, and reparation. Together, we can and must bring an end to this egregious violation of human rights. Stop enforced disappearance, protection, not persecution of human rights defenders.